Let's take you to Tshwane, the capital city. After failing to remove the speaker yesterday, the Metro Council is now proceeding with the election of a new mayor. Watching proceedings there inside the chambers is Moloko Moloto. He's back with us this hour. Moloko, good afternoon. So what's the latest? What's happening now?
Good afternoon, Braden. Well, at least there is a little bit of progress in that this special council meeting started at 10 o'clock this morning with just one item, the election of the new executive mayor. It did not happen at that time. Instead, we saw the ANC requesting a caucus break for an hour, and when they came back to the council chambers, the economic freedom fighters also requested for a 2-hour caucus break, and they have just returned now. And ultimately, they are agreeing that the election of the new executive mayor should proceed. So far, the DA, Celia Brink, has accepted nomination to stand for the position of executive mayor on behalf of the DA-led coalition. On the other side, Mr. Ofense Mwalusi from the Congress of the People has also accepted nomination to stand for the position of mayor, contesting on the ticket of the ANC-led coalition. Now, the Speaker as well as the IEC have laid down the rules to say, for instance, every stationery that's going to be used inside that ballot box or ballot container, or where they will be voting, is going to be provided for by the IEC, including a pen. And they were clear this time around that the only acceptable mark on the ballot paper will be an X. Anything, as the DA did in the previous election when they were voting using the numbers, for instance, number 1, 2, 3, that was done to ensure that those they did not trust tore the party line. The IEC was clear that any ballot paper that would have been marked differently is going to be dismissed as a spoiled ballot paper. We were told that voting is going to commence at 3:15. But Braden, there is an issue here. The Congress of the People has forwarded Mr. Mwalusi, who is contesting for the position of mayor. However, not everybody within Congress of the People is happy. We know that Mr. Mwalusi has actually replaced Mr. Justice Sefanyetso, who was removed last week as the only councillor for COPE. He was also going to stand for the position of executive mayor, and he's unhappy. He is now challenging his removal in the court. And we are told by COPE's national spokesperson, Dennis Bloom, that they actually support his litigation. And we earlier spoke to Mr. Brian Mkombo, who says he is the regional spokesperson for Congress of the People here in Tshwane. He also supports Mr. Sefanyetso, and he's saying that he doesn't know Mr. Mwalusi. He is not, even though he is sworn in today as a councillor for COPE, he says he doesn't represent him. And he did also mention, that is Mr. Mkombo, that Mr. Mwalusi was brought here by the council speaker of Johannesburg, Colleen Makhubele, saying that they have a romantic relationship. Of course, Ms. Makhubele is saying she's not going to discuss personal issues. She doesn't want to be reduced into those things. But let's speak to the Congress of the People's provincial chairperson. His name is Mr. Tom Mufugeng. Sir, thank you so much for your time. Already, Mr. Mwalusi, who represents COPE, he is a new councillor here. Not all, particularly your senior leaders, accept him as a councillor. Is that not a problem, really? More so since he is likely, if elected, to become the executive mayor of Tshwane?
Look, this has got nothing to do with senior leaders. How we work and how we deal with local matters, especially in municipalities, it's a constitutional right and powers of the provincial structure. So what we do, after we have done everything, then a report will be taken to our national structure, which is the CNC, where we will be tabling a report of what has been happening in the province.
It's interesting you say this has nothing to do with the national leaders, But there is a letter already coming from Mr. Msuwalikota, your party president, who apparently says that he denounces the conduct of Ms. Makubele of bringing Mr. Moalusi here and removing Mr. Sefanyet. So he says essentially he was misled into agreeing with her, and as a result he's changing his mind together with Willie Madisha as well as the members of the Central Executive Committee. As far as they are concerned, Mr. Sefanyet, who's been removed, remains the co-councillor here.
Well, coming to the letter that you are talking about, we had made it clear that the letter is fraudulent, and as a result, the provincial structure, together with the President of Congress of the People, Ntate Msuwalikota, approached the law enforcement yesterday. We went to a police station to open a case, which is basically a criminal case, because his signature has been forged, and secondly, the whole letter, or his email address, was actually something that they came up with. It's not his original email address. So all those things are actually, that letter doesn't hold.
I spoke to Dennis Bloom, COPE's national spokesperson, earlier, and he's saying that they don't recognize Mr. Sefanyet so much that they actually don't support Mr. Moalusi, I beg pardon, who is now a COPE councillor here. They support Mr. Sefanyet, who's been removed. They even support his court action to have himself being reinstated here.
Well, I don't know what Mr. Bloom was talking about, because as far as I'm concerned, as the national spokesperson of the party, he is supposed to be briefed by the party to say whatever he wants to say. So that has never been briefed to him by the party, so it must be his own opinion.
Mr. Mofokeng, it is obvious to every South African that there's political instability here in Tshwane, particularly at the political leadership level. There's no executive mayor, and the implications are dire. Already we understand that the Gauteng government is impatient with the city of Tshwane's inability or failure to appoint the executive mayor. As Congress of the People, considering the fact that already there are squabbles within your party as to who is the eligible councillor, and given the fact that Mr. Moalusi, your councillor, is going to stand for the position of executive mayor, if Mr. Sefanyet goes to court and wins, it would mean that he must be reinstated. The implications are that if he is elected, Mr. Moalusi will have to resign as the executive mayor. In other words, the vicious cycle will continue. Do you not think it would be important for you to say, as Congress of the People, step aside, let another party field another candidate for the mayor position?
Look, we have a procedure that we follow when we select members. I think you'll remember what happened with our previous candidate here, Dr. Makwarela, who we openly said he was not properly screened. So we had to...
Yet you nominated him as Congress of the People.
Yes, he was not properly screened. And
in other words, you admit that you are playing part in destabilizing Tshwane, because we are here today because partly Makwarela was just problematic. He failed a court order. He was your member.
I think if you can give me enough chance to finish whatever I'm saying, I'll be able to bring.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Now, the issue here is we don't want to repeat what has happened with Mr. Makwarela. We invited all the candidates in Gauteng to go before our electoral college, which is the screening and the vetting wing of the party. Now, unfortunately, Mr. Sefanyet didn't submit his papers, despite the fact that we went on air we called a media briefing to invite everybody. We personally wanted him to bring his documents, of which he didn't bring. And there were allegations that he was having 2 IDs, he was having a criminal case. Now, in the vetting processes, or if he had subjected himself to that, we would be knowing as a party whether he disclosed that or...
You have moved, sorry, I have to come in. You have moved from Mr. Makwarela, whom we know that he's a liar. We are now coming to Mr. Tshwane. So you are talking about him. The reason you removed him, you say, is because he did not want to be vetted. Yet already he was here as a councillor. That is why he had to be removed. All I'm saying is that your systems as Congress of the People are failing so much that you are now bringing a third person in the name of Mr. Mwalusi. Why are you hell-bent as Congress of the People in fielding your candidates? Why can't you just say, let's step back, let's allow other parties to field mayoral candidates so that there can be stability in Tshwane?
No, we are not going to stand in the way of democracy, because what is unfolding here is democracy. But having said that, I must emphasize that the issue of Mr. Tshwane not coming here, he was brought here by the people that are claiming to be members of the region. It is not, the regions don't have the powers to do so.
Again, these are the failures within code that we are here today. Mara, maybe let's conclude. What would you, as the Congress of the People, what do you want to achieve ultimately, seeing that the impasse seems to be going on non-stop? Yes, perhaps at this point in time, chances are voting will commence for the executive mayor. Ultimately, what is your vision as a party that holds one seat here in Tshwane in terms of ensuring that there would be service delivery here?
In a coalition, anywhere in the world, it doesn't matter how many members you have, as long as you are not mandated by the electorate, then you are equal to the one that has any seat. So our one seat doesn't mean anything in Tshwane. But having said that, I want to emphasize that we are the people in Congress of the People. We do things differently. And I think if you can go to other parties and check whether they have done what we have done with our candidates, there will be no party that can match that.
Have you vetted Mr. Mwalusi, the new councillor?
He is vetted. We have his report, and the people that vetted him have sent that to the...
What are the unique leadership qualities that he's bringing as we conclude?
Well, there's a lot. We look at different types of things. We look at the leadership style, what you have been doing before in the communities. We look at your involvement, even during your school days. We look at things that that are negative that you have been doing as a person in the community.
All right, Mr. Tom Mofokeng, thank you so much. He is the Gauteng chairperson of the Congress of the People. Anytime from now, Braden, voting may commence, and obviously the Democratic Alliance is confident that it will take this one. They say they have counted 118 members, and they say that is a majority that will ensure that Zulia Brink is elected as the executive mayor of Tshwane. But there's an issue of victimization here. The Economic Freedom Fighters has been clear that it is wrong. It was wrong for the DA as well as Action SA as coalition partners to punish and victimize and even fire some of the councillors that it suspected voted for Murunwa Makwarela. And the EFF is now saying that it has even encouraged those expelled councillors to take the Action SA to court and to challenge their dismissal, because they say that goes against the letter and the spirit of the Constitution, because secret ballot is provided for in our legislation. Braden.
Thank you very much, Moloko Moloto. We'll touch base with you a little bit later to see how the voting, if it has started, how it's going there for a new mayor of Tshwane.